Hi and welcome to part 2 of my game tutorial. Thank you for coming on back. You may have noticed something a little different. I'm trying the green screen effect. I used to use this a fair bit, but I haven't touched it for a while, so we shall see if it all works. There's lights all over the room trying to get a bit more real estate on the screen and less of my background, but hopefully my ugly mug will stick around for a little bit. Before we start, I just want to say thank you so much for all the people, all the comments, all the subs that I've been getting in the last week or so having done this. I can't think why that might be, but why everyone's having a look at Godot. But everybody's been, I don't know why this might be. Perhaps it is because Godot is more of a community product, but it's just everybody's been genuinely nice, very, very helpful. I'm getting some really helpful comments. So thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying this series, and I'll try and fit it into maybe 2 more parts just to try and break it down a little bit. I'm putting chapters in there, so hopefully you can skip the bits that you already know or don't really care about. The other thing you might notice, is I've moved the resolution down to 1080p. I was recording it in 1440p, and I think 1080p looks a little cleaner, and I can't put my finger on why. It might be a YouTube algorithm or something like that. But yeah, so I'm going to try 1080p on this one. Let me know again if you think that's too low and you prefer the higher resolution. I'm happy to change that back. It's no biggie at all. Okay, I think that's everything out of the way. There were a few little issues that we had last time before I went away, and I did a bit of research and tried to get them fixed. One of them was that we were getting a lot of these errors here. These on init state entered is inside tree. Not, I assume that's not is inside tree. And so I found out how to fix it. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the scripts here, and actually it's very, very simple. You need to add the child first, and then set its global position and rotation and stuff, which, okay, I sort of get. So we'll just do that, and then we'll actually just remove that. Okay, and that will now fix that issue, but hopefully I can run it. I've been playing around with some other bits as well. There we go. And now we don't have any errors. Any errors at all, look, not even warnings from Magic. You may have spotted there, and I'll do it again. If I do that, will it pop up? There we go. Sometimes, not this time, things float through the floor. Now, I can actually demonstrate this a little bit easier. If I actually go to the floor here, what I can do is I can hide the floor color. So if I get a material override, if I just get the albedo and change the alpha down to nothing, it's still there, right? Because I think the reason for that is you have to change the transparency. Here we go. So under transparency here, click on alpha, and there we go. Now it's gone, right? So now it's hidden. We can't see it. And if I press play now, you should be able to see. There you go. You can see some of them are floating down. Some of them have been forced through the floor. Now I think this is due to a couple of reasons. One, very easy to fix. Yeah, there goes one. Look, there goes a few more. And sometimes it seems like there's absolutely loads of them that go missing. So what we'll do, just to get this going, I think one thing we can do on the matchstick here is if we go to the settings of the matchstick, and we'll see that there's one that says continuous CD. And what that means is continuous collision detection. So that makes sense. I'd imagine this is probably a little, a bit more CPU heavy, but let's have a look. And that's that. Oh, you might fall off, but no, there we go. That one's kind of bounced off, but actually that's worked a treat. Now, I did find that this wasn't 100%. Sometimes, as is typical, it's not doing it now. Sometimes they were going through. So what I'm actually going, and I think this is down to the fact that the CSG box seems to have its own. Where are we? We called it floor, didn't we? Has its own collision. Where's that? This is the color thingy, isn't it? Let's get rid of hide that. Use collision here, and see, there's no mention of rigid bodies or whatever. It seems to do its own thing, and it may be that it is doing its own thing, but it's very difficult to know how it's working. Maybe it's that scaling issue I was talking about. So what I'm going to very, very quickly do, like I say, if you don't care about this, skip to the next chapter. I'm going to create a different type of floor. I'm going to create a rigid body and add a box into it. So let's do that right now. So we're going to add a chart. No, not fly here. Let's start doing Control A for child load. Let's use the shortcuts, and we're going to add a rigid body. That's fine. Double click it, and we'll call this floor 2 or something like that. Shall we? Floor 2, and in here, So let's just hide you for now. If I do that, I think that'll hide you. It doesn't hide you completely, does it? This is one thing that I find a little bit challenging with Godot. It's hard to disable stuff. So I'm going to turn off use collision on that as well, so it's completely unused. Okay, floor 2 here, and what we'll do is we'll add a child node. We'll add a CSG box. This is just for visual representation now. This has no unlike this floor here, which was being used with its collision turned on. The rigid body is going to control that. So we'll let's just set it aside. So we'll make it again. We'll make it 20 meters by 1 meter by 20. Right, okay, that's good. And then we will. That's fine for that. Should we set the color for it quickly? Let's do material override. Use that material here. Albedo. Get a close-ish green to what we had before. That's good enough for me. Fine. And we'll add a rigid body to it. Collision shape, excuse me. Add a child node. Collision shape 3D. And it needs to be a box shape. I hope I'm not going too quick here. This is all covered in previous episodes, so if it's throwing you around a bit, check out the other stuff. There we go. 20 by 20 by 1. Now, what I might want to do, because I think that is at half high, I might just move this down 0.5. So if I click on there, click on transform, and then move the position minus 0.5, that moves the whole thing down bang on the floor. I don't know if you can see that. And if I click play now, I think what might happen is the box drops as well. And we definitely don't want that, do we? So what we want to do under here somewhere, under the rigid body that we created, we're going to put collision. There's an option here to freeze it. Or is it under the... No, it's not under the collision shape. It's under the rigid body. Freeze. There we go. Sorry, I'm staring right at it. So it's under the rigid body 3D. If we click on freeze there, that will stop it. As it suggests, being able to be adjusted by any shapes and whatever. So now, as far as I can tell now, things are not falling through the floor. So, with that said, we are now able to... more successfully show how many matches are remaining, right? Which is always a good thing. The other thing I think that looking at this, it's not on here. It's this can sleep option. If we, I'm going to delete this floor now. Goodbye, floor. It's nice knowing you. So floor 2. I don't think it matters which order these go in, does it? Not right now. Is on the matchstick. We've turned continuous CD on here, and this can sleep option here. I've disabled it. It was on. I've disabled it, and I think what that does is it means when you take matches away, they can still move around. I did notice that when matches were being removed, the matches just stay potentially, hovering in midair because the match underneath them was gone. So I think can sleep is good. I'd imagine that probably results in more CPU. So you might want to play around with this, see how you're going, how you get on. If it's a problem, just turn can sleep back on. But otherwise, I think you're okay. So I think we're there. Control S, let's just click on here, and we are good to go. Cup of tea. Right. We need to get on with actually writing the game, don't we? Last time we left it in a place where the player turn state was entered. So it's the player's turn now, and it makes sense that we create an option box for them to take 1, 2, or 3 matches. So let's do exactly that. Let's go back to the world, and I'm going under our canvas layer, I'm going to put a box. So we'll call this add child node. What's it going to be? It's going to be a VBox container. VBox container. I'll just click that. And we'll call this the player choice. Box container, right? And it's going to have a label in it. Followed by 1, 2, and 3 buttons, right? So let's get this sorted out here. So I'll add a label. That's it. And that's going to say, oh, by the way, we should move this to the bottom. Let's just sort that out now. So let's anchor this to the bottom, middle, bottom, that one. So we can take up the full space there. That makes sense, doesn't it? Does it? Let's do bottom center. Let's do that one for now. And under the label, we'll say, how many matches. many matches would you like to take? Question mark. And again, I think what we'll do under the theme overrides, we'll just set, not fonts, font sizes. I realise now you can't see this, can you? If I bring that up a bit, can you still see that now? You can just about see it, can't you? There we go. Yeah, so we'll check the font size and say it's something like 36. There we go. Right, and that's that bit there done. So we'll just call that question label. I really do like to try and name everything as clearly as possible, right? So it's really, really obvious. And now we also want to add a horizontal box container. So let's just do that. Add child node. This is going to be 3 boxes. So HBox container, there she is. Click create. And then we're going to have 3 buttons, right? 1, 2, and 3. So button. There we go. And that's going to have the number 1 in it. What have I done here? I've just done something. Text 1 there, okay, and then we'll just call that 1 button, shall we? Button 1 or button 1 button? Button 1. I think if we do that and can duplicate it with duplicate it with Control D. There we go. That's quite good, isn't it? So it's renamed that for us, and then we'll make that text on that 2, and the text on that one 3. Zoom out, zoom in. As you can see, a slight problem here is that it's not expanding. So I want this here to expand. It has expanded all the way here. So what we need to do on these buttons, if we click that lot there, we need to use layout, I think it is. A container sizing, there it is. And we want, interesting. If we can expand to, there, that's worked a treat, hasn't it? It doesn't, if I click the 1, it doesn't look, it looks slightly different, I think. If I go to layout now and do container sizing, yeah, look, it's different. That's interesting. Can you see me? Can you see it? No, you can't. Let me just hide myself 1 second. Yeah, so this is the normal look. Fill. But if I select multiple ones and then do layout, container sizing, it does this sort of fill, shrink center 4, shrink 8. It's gone a bit wrong. That's a, I would argue that's a bug. So let's get rid of that. Okay, back in here. Can you see me? Yes, you can. This is good, right? So we've got 3 buttons, and what we'll do is we'll hide that so you can't see it until it's the player's turn. And what we'll do now in our script is we'll have a reference to that up here. Yeah, and we'll just drag it in. Like I say, drag, then hold the control button, and then release. All right. Player choice box container. I could just call that player choice container. But player choices, how about that? And then we'll set Control S, and then we'll under our on player state entered, we'll just say player choices dot visible equals true. Control S. And now if I run this, it's initially not going to do anything. And then how many matches would you like to say? Well, that's way too close to the bottom. Okay, so let's sort that out. I say it's way too close to the bottom. It's not really, is it? A canvas layer, come on. So click that. 2D, be kind to me. Being a bit of a monkey, aren't you? Oh, it's because it's not visible, dimwit. So let's click on the player choice container box, and we'll just drag that up a little bit. I think we'll try and drag it. Oh, I'm pressing. Stop it. I'm pressing up. There we go. Just something like that, just to give it a little bit of space. Now, one thing I didn't particularly love there was it. Oh, sorry, I just need to disable it before I start it, don't I? So let's just do that. Click on play. How many matches would you like to say? 1, 2, or 3? I mean, these don't do anything yet, but that's okay. We'll work on that in a second. I might just put a little bit of spacing as well between those. If we do layout here, where is it? Under HBox container, that's right. Sing. Sorry, it's under theme overrides, of course, isn't it? Constant separation. There we go. Let's just enable it again. Sorry. that enable that, and then we'll separation set 8 or something. 16. That's a bit better. Just a little bit of space between, so you accidentally press the wrong one. Okay, that's good. Right, so yeah, so now we'll disable that. Player choice box container. Click play. Lovely. And then how many matches would you like to say there? 1, 2, or 3. I like that now. So see, where I'm going with this is if you anchor correctly, you see, resizing it does not make it look too terrible, right? It sticks to the right place, stays in the center. Good times. Okay, right. So that is disabled. But what I'd like to do actually is put a status in the middle, maybe saying something like player's turn, just briefly, right? Or however long. So what we'll do is in here as well, we'll add another label. And we'll call this status label or something like that. Status label, idiot. Call it label, and then that's it. And then rename it here to status label. I'm just going to put that above, just so it's a bit clear, right? Sort of in some sort of order. It doesn't matter because they're not going to overwrite each other. And again, we want to anchor this to the middle, that one. We'll set the text to start with just to player's turn. And we will horizontal alignment center. And we definitely want a theme override, don't we? Font size 36. Right. And this also would be disabled at the start of the turn. So what we're thinking here, my thinking here is that what we'll do is we'll have some sort of function that lets us display that for a period of time. And this leads me on to the await function. Okay, this is the first kind of function. What's it called? Yield in Unity, where you can basically hand control back to the calling methods, and then you'll resume shortly, or whenever you that await time has elapsed. So let's go into back to the scripts here, and we'll have a link to that as well. Not question label, status label. Drag, hold control, release. Status label. This is good. I mean, we could just use these kind of directly, but so what we'll do is we'll have a helper method, and we'll put it here. We'll call it something like func. It's going to be an underscore because it's going to be specifically for this. So display status, and we'll have var. No, don't put the var. You just put text of type string. No, I'm not going to call it text because that's the variable that's used. We'll call it display text. Display text of type string, comma duration of type float or int. I'm going to say int, and then what we'll do is we'll say status label dot text equals display text. Set visible as well. Hang on. Status label. Status. I'd be a lot quicker in these tutorials if I could actually type, wouldn't I? Visible equals true. And then we'll add a delay, and this is where we're going to add a timeout listener. Okay, you remember those signals? Well, this is the way that you would write in code the way to listen out for a signal. So there's one in called getTree. getTree gets the root, and that has a bunch of functions, and one of them is create a timer, and that's how long it's going to be. Well, we know that, don't we? Duration. Right, this is good. That's going to create a timer. That's great. And what we can do is we can have a timeout. So that's going to basically, it's going to wait for, if I put a wait in front of it, this is going to hold until the timeout function of create timer gets called. Okay, we can never look at timers later on, but this is the function that will eventually, once it's complete, fire the timeout signal, and that is how you would do this in code rather than connecting them over on the nodes panel here. You would actually you could write something similar to control, whatever that control is, focus exited, and wait for that to happen, and then I'll wait for that there. Yeah, I didn't explain that hugely well, did I? But I hope that makes some sense. This is going to hold until this occurs. Now, the one thing that's going to happen when this happens is it's going to hand the control back to the calling function. All right, so nothing's going to if I did that as it is now, it would actually continue. The other function that calls this will continue. So I'll show you how to get around that. And then we're going to say status label dot visible equals false. Okay. Right, and then what we can do in our player state entered is, rather than saying here, we'll just say player choice dot visible equals true. So before we do that, let's call this function. What was it called? Display status. We'll just something like that. So this text is going to be player's turn. I'm there. Player's turn, and we'll put it on for let's just try 2 seconds. Now this is what's going to happen. I think is it's going to stay on there, and this is going to set to true straight away. I don't want this to go straight to be visible, and I think that's what's going to happen. As soon as it shows the status of the box, there you go. Now what I really wanted to happen was that to disappear, and then these to appear. And the way that you do that is you put an await in front of the display status. Okay, so you're waiting and then you're waiting. Right, so here we go. So we click here. There we go. It's going to do that, and then hopefully it'll say player's turn. That'll disappear, and then how many matches would you like to take? Superb. And now all we need to do now is just program the code to get these ones going here. So we need to have buttons, don't we? We need to have listeners or connections for the signals that these will emit. And it makes sense that all 3 of these buttons call the same function, and that function perhaps somehow could take a parameter. So let's just talk about how we're going to do that. If we go over to our button 1 here and click on node, there's a pressed option. Makes sense, right? This is what you'd want to connect. So we'll just say here, connect. And then it's going to say, well, what script do you want? Let's have a little look down here. And we want to go to our state manager. That makes sense. But let's just call this, let's not call it that. Let's call it on player choice button pressed. That's a good start. It's not the best start. We can do better. If we click on advanced, we can add extra arguments here, and we want to add an int here. So we're going to, there's all sorts of different things you can add. Look, but we're just adding a simple old int. We'll add that in with a value of 1, right? Because this is the 1 button. So we've got on player choice button pressed, and it's going to send 1 value. So if we click on connect here, all right, that's now we've got this function here, extra arg 0. So we'll just call that. What should we call that? Count? Match count. Don't love that. 5 int. Okay, and now hopefully if I just say this here, let's just go down to here and we'll just say print match count. Might rename that in a minute. Let's click on here. Player's turn. And now if I press the 1 button, you can see that it's actually printing 1. Glorious. It's saved it as an integer as well. I like that. There's no casting going on or anything like that. You've actually managed to pass the variable as an integer. This is good. Now all we need to do now is do the same thing on pressed here. We're going to connect it to signals. Where's signal gone? Where are you? State manager rather. State manager's already there. And I think pick, here we go. We can actually say, no, it's not letting me do it. Hang on. Okay, I can't find exactly how to do that. And I think it might be because it's a private method or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rename it here. So it's on player choice button pressed. On player choice button pressed. So it's the same function. It's going to call the same function. And then we click over here to add the int. And this has got a value of 2. So if I now say connect to that, this is good. And then we'll do that one more time. Click here, pressed, connect, state manager, and then finally on player choice button pressed, and then add an argument of 3. All right, good. Connect. Connect, yes, connect. There. So we've got 3 different connections there on each one. Okay. And so now if we run it now, we'll see that. See, I'm shaking about now because of that thing. So if we press 1, we see 1, 2, we see 2, 3, see 3, 2, 1. All right, so okay. So this is okay. What we'll do once they've clicked it is we'll say, well, let's do this. Let's say player choices dot visible equals false. Makes sense because they've just clicked a button. We'll do the display. What did I call it? What did I call it? Display status. Yes, I did call it that. Display status, and we'll say player takes %D match, and we'll put it in brackets because it could be 1 or more, couldn't it, matches? And then we'll put %D. Oh, percent match count. And then comma 3 seconds. Let's try it. Test often. Ooh, it's gone. What I might do is put a ring around it. I might add some collision shapes around the edge. How many would you like to take? So let's take 3. Player takes 3 matches. Now it's not doing anything, right? It's not doing anything. So what we'll actually do now is when we added these matchsticks up here, what we can do is we can say, oh, not that. Make sure it's in the right place. So we get tree, add. Oh, is it group? I start grouping it. It might just say here. Hang on. Add node to group. I think it was called. I thought it was called. 1 sec. Yeah, sorry. It's all you need to do is say. All you need to do here is say add to group. Sorry, it's an actual function of the node function, so it's absolutely fine. Add to group. Group name. So we'll call this matches. Matches. Yeah, and then we'll just add this matchstick to it. I think that's right. No, it's not. It's not right. It's not right. Sorry. It's matchstick dot add to group. There we go. Sorry, guys. Add to group matches. All right. Okay, so that's good. Now, if we so now every time there's a match there, it will get put into this group of nodes called matchsticks, matches rather. So I think down here on player turn state, hopefully, if we say get tree dot get nodes in group matches. Let's just print that, shall we? Well, that should all be good. Let's just see. That should be an object. So if we click down here, it's got a bit of a weight now. I might remove some of these weights. Maybe set that to ½ a second or something. So there we go. You can see that it's there. Look, that's good. So the matchstick does exist. I'll click 3. Lovely. So it has actually absolutely fine. So what we can do on our player choice button pressed here is say, what did we say? We said get nodes in group matches, right? So what we can do is we can say for I in range match count, and then we'll say I think it should be okay. Should we say okay? So if we just say get tree dot get, I think you can say get first node in group, perfect, and say matches, and then dot, is it Q3? Q3, and that's Godot's way of saying farewell. Okay, I think we've got some tabular issues here. Let's get that right. Again, it's very tab sensitive. Okay, that looks like it should be okay. Get tree, get first node in group, matches, and Q3. So if it's 3 matches, it's going to run that 3 times. let's see. And while we're at it, let's do this. Let's just do the old emit the signal where the I forgot what it's called. What the node on this one is called? It's called that's left a bit. Match count changed. There we go. I'll be here and match count changed, and we need to say. So we'll say, what's it? Current match count. Current match count. Current match count minus equals match count, and then we'll just say current match count, and that should, I think, have I got that print statement still? No, good. That should, I think, do the job. It's thrown an error. It's saying match count changed is not match count changed dot emit. Sorry. There. Sorry, let's try and run. Sometimes I like to stop it, sometimes I like to restart. There we go, that's better. Right. 23, I'll click on 2. So what we're expecting to happen here now is we're expecting the matches here to go down by 2. And it has. What I didn't see was where the 2 disappeared. Let's just do this. Let's just change that to 15. Right, I know that's silly, but we know that I think there's a minimum count, isn't there? 20, yeah. So this should remove 15 of those matches. So we should see a visible difference of those matches. So let's just check that. If we take, it doesn't matter what we're going to press. I don't think that worked, did it? I think that took one match. Certainly didn't take 15 matches. Let's just try one thing, and then I'll pause it if this doesn't work. Let's just print I. Print I. Get tree. Don't get first node. It did do. I'm pretty sure it got rid of 1. I think what's the problem is I think what we need to actually do here is say get tree, and then we'll say get. Is it going to be cut? So we say get nodes in group. That's it. And then we put this in brackets here. Let's just try this I. Okay, that's just a bit funky. Makes me nervous doing things like that. Right, hopefully that'll free 15 of them or whatever. So I press 3. That has worked, hasn't it? That has worked. Now that was making me nervous because when you do a Q3, what we're actually saying here is kind of remove it. But I think because we're doing it here, and then probably we're not doing it in any thread or anything, it's okay to do this. So it's removing the 3. So now we can actually change that back to match count. Try this. Click on play. If we click on 3, lovely. Player takes 3 matches. And we're good. Now we're going to get to something very exciting now. Ish. We're going to have the computer's turn. So we've done everything we need to do there, I think. So what we'll do next, and one thing I want to do, by the way, is just on the game state chart here, the 2-player turn, I think we've got something like 3 seconds. I'm just going to change that to 2 seconds for now. Not too much time between this stuff, otherwise people that are playing it are going to get a bit annoyed. So we're going to have a new turn, aren't we? Computer turn. So let's just click on 3D, add a new state, and it's going to be called computer turn. And we're going to have a transition under the player turn here. It's going to be called... actually, before we do the computer turn, we actually need to think about whether or not we've won. So let's have an evaluate turn. Okay, let's add that as well. Evaluate match turn. No, don't call it match because it's like matchsticks, isn't it? So if we go back to here, back to compound state, we'll add another one. What should we call this? We'll call this evaluate. And we'll put that above. We can keep it there. We can keep it there. And so from player turn, we want to go to, we want to add a transition. And we'll call this to, what do we call it? Yeah, we'll call it to evaluate. And that's going to say, well, where do you want me to go to? And we want to go to the evaluate state. And what was the function we called here? So that's 2 player turns. So we want to call this one to evaluate. Good, good, and we'll send that function, and then that'll put it into the evaluate state. Right. Okay. And I appreciate this is what's the word? There's a lot of plumbing here, right? But when you've got this going, addressing it, refactoring it, recoding it is so much easier. So much easier than trying to get through the code yourself, and trying to work out what method did what. So we've got to evaluate here. So on the player turn, if we go back to our script, we want to send an event, don't we? So we've done all this, and so now we'll say, I've forgotten again. No, I think we called it. What did we call it? I thought there was a link to the state chart. There we go. I'm going to put that up higher up here. There, put it there. A game state chart. Okay, perfect. And in our method here, we'll say game state chart dot send event to evaluate, and that will send it, I hope, to the evaluate state. Now, what we don't know here is whose turn it is. So I'm going to have a little think about that for a second, but let's just quickly get this going so we know that it's actually working. So under evaluate here, we'll click on node and we'll say state entered, connect, state manager, and it's going to be called on evaluate state entered, and we'll say print at evaluate state. Okay. Right, and I think what I might do as well on the to evaluate here, I might just put the maybe a second or something. No, we don't need to on the evaluate, do we? No, let's put 1 second. Let's just put it to 1 second and then just see how that goes. And I'll click 3. Player takes 3 matches. And it says at evaluate there. Lovely. Right. So what we need to do is this needs to know somehow how to know whether it's the player's turn or it was the player that did it or the computer that did it. So I think what we need to do, by the way, one thing I wanted to actually pre-fill, and I have set that as a state chart, so I thought it might actually let me pre-fill this. And if so, under here, send event. Before we do that, we're going to say game state dot. As it's set. 1 sec. Set. Oh, every time it goes over there. Set underscore expression property, and we'll call it turn, and we'll say player. So we'll say that then what this will know is whose turn it was. Okay, so we will then say, let's just print that, shall we? Print, was it game state chart dot get expression property would be my guess. Oh, brackets quotes turn. I hope that's going to work. So now click on play. Just keep an eye on down here now. 3. Okay, non-existent get expression property. Hang on 1 second. Let me just work out what it was called. Okay, having a little look. I can't find anything in the documentation that actually says you can't actually get expression property. So we'll just do something a lot more straightforward. We'll set a variable up here that says var turn of type string. Let's just set it to player for now, right? We don't need to do that because we're going to set it down here, and then here on player choice button press, that's it, and then we'll say turn equals player. I know it was always there before. Okay, and now we should be able to do this. Let's just print the turn there. We could have done that before. Turn equals player. Spelled player right? Yep. Click here. This is going to be fine. I hope this works fine. 3, play 3 matches. It's done that, and there we go. It said player down there, right? So we're going to do this. We're going to evaluate the board. We're going to say if current match count is greater than 1. Okay. Actually, I wonder if we should put this somewhere else. You know, but I will send it a bit. We'll do it there. I just want to maybe it's already the player's turn, isn't it? Greater than 1. No. Let's yes. And turn equals player. Turn equals computer. And we'll send an event in a second. Yeah, so the evaluator can have a couple of things here. And then, okay, else if, it's elif, isn't it? Sorry, elif current match count is greater than 1. And I think we're going to have to do this slightly differently, but let's just get it going now. And turn equals computer. Turn equals player. Okay, so if it's the player that's just sent this evaluate, then we're going to say, and then we'll have we'll put some win conditions in shortly. Let's get the computer playing first. Okay, so what we'll do now, turn equals computer, and we're going to set an event in the evaluate. We'll call it, click on here. We'll create 2 possible atomic states like that. So one's going to be to player turn. No, we don't need that. We've already got it. Look, we've already got it. To player turn here. Look, there it is. All right, this is good. So we don't need to call that. We don't need that. But we might need a transition to computer turn. Yes, I think we do. So let's just do that to computer turn. And that, oddly enough, is going to change it to computer turn. Say OK. And so we can send an event here, to player turn, to player turn. Game state chart dot send event. Send event. This is the computer turn, so it's going to be, I've already forgotten, to computer turn. And this one's going to send event here to player turn. Goodness gracious, what have I done? Elif, I've forgotten to put a colon there. Is that going to work? Okay, what are we saying then? So if current match count is greater than 1 and the turn is currently the player, switch the turn to be computer and game state chart.send event to computer turn. And this one here says, and if the player match count is greater than 1 and current turn is computer, then it's the player's turn and send the event to player turn, which we've already used, right? Which is turns it to that. So let's try it, shall we? Let's try. Let's just see if it works. Actually, why don't we add on the computer turn? Let's just quickly add a node here. Add a state entered. Connect. State manager connect. All right, and just say computer's turn. Print. Computer turn. I promise you something interesting something very cool is about to happen. I'm going to show you the secret to how to win this game. So now if we click play. It's got all the possibilities of going wrong and confusing the hell out of me. So we'll take 2 matches. It took 2, and it's gone on to computer turn straight away. Beautiful. Right. So what I'll do here, and I'll just say computer's turn and say display status computer's turn for 2 seconds. We need to await it, don't we? And then we'll say, let's do a couple of things. Hang on. Computer takes X matches. Computer takes %D matches. Yeah. And then we go to evaluate. And then we send game state chart. Dot send event to evaluate. Now, obviously, something's gone quite badly wrong here. We haven't actually put any logic in here other than taking 2 matches. But let's just see how that goes. Let's just see if that even works. Did one fall through then? I think one fell through. I could cry. Okay, I'll have another look at that in a bit. So we'll take 3. Player takes 3 matches. Computer's turn. Computer takes... I didn't put a value in. And then it should pop up with player's turn, I thought. No, so where did I put that player's turn message? So that needs to go in the... that needs to go in the player state entered there. So I must be putting it... Where did I put that await? Hang on a minute. There. I should have said that. I thought. Did I not put an await down here? I did. And to evaluate, to player turn. Just quickly do that again. Okay, do 3. Player takes 3 matches. Computer's turn. That was too quick. And then it flicks through them. Hang on one second. Let me try and work out why that's happened. I've realised the error of my ways. This also needs to have a. These are the. You can't just call different state transitions. You have to have your own transitions. So we're going to say add one in here. Sorry, then there we go. So we need to add a new one in. This is the same thing. To evaluate. And then we over here we put status to evaluate. Okay. And then this is to evaluate. Yeah, so they've got to have their own transitions. That's that. And we'll just put 1 second in there. Right, and then that will, yeah, to evaluate, that's it. And then that's going to put to the evaluate state, which is fine. That's what we want. So we do need 2 things here. So we need 2 computer turn. We need to add another one to player turn. And that is going to be underscore here, underscore to player turn. And this is it's getting slightly confusing now, isn't it? Because we've got this here twice, which I guess kind of makes some sense, right? These are the transitions it can do, and we need to just tell it what it's going to do. Going to go to player turn. Thanks for telling me my GeForce drivers already. Thank you. Now, if we click play, I will make this all available on GitHub, so don't worry. You can have a good old play. And there we go. We'll take 3 matches. Computer's turn. Computer takes 2 matches. That was way too quick, but that has worked there. Okay, and let's take 3 or whatever. That's going to keep working. Now, why was that? Why was that so quick? That bit. I'll take a quick look. 1 second. Right, I know what the problem is, and it's not good. These awaits are kind of basically these are returning back to the method that called them back to. So we're going to have to remove them. Anytime there's an await now, anytime there's a display status, in fact, that's just Control K is comment. I hoped. There we go. And let's just find this await here, here, and what we'll do is we'll actually put these in the. We'll put them as a message, and then we'll get the next status to sort something out. So let's just click on play here now. I think what's going to happen now is we're not going to see any messages at all. Anyway, should I take 3, and then we don't know what's going to happen next. Computer turn, player turn, state entered. So what we'll need to do now is we'll need to add some delays between these different turns. So what we'll do is we'll say so from init to player turn, we'll put a delay of 2 seconds. That's absolutely fine. And then in the init thing here, we'll say. Where is it in it? Now, what's the best way to get to the thing? I think if you click on that, perfect. On init state method, and just here we'll say, well, yeah, let's just say status label dot visible equals true. Equals true. Thank you. What the hell was that? And then status label dot text equals player's turn. There, right? Okay. And then what we will then do is we under the on player here, we'll just set that to false. Let's set that to false there. All right. Okay, so what I think that's going to do now, it's going to get us started. This is, and apologies, player's turn. That's a bit annoying. How would you like to take? Okay, that's okay. And then how many would you like to take? Right, so we'll just say 3 or whatever, right? And then how many matches should I take? There we go. So we don't see the computer. So what we'll do at the end of this, once they press the button here, here-ish, we'll say status label. No, we won't, not here. We'll go to evaluate. And then under here, we'll say status label dot visible equals true. Status label dot text equals computer's turn. That's it. And then we'll do all kind of the same thing down here. Player's turn. But what we'll now do on these bits, on the evaluate, we'll set a nice bit of distance. I'll put that 3 seconds there. 3 seconds there. Okay, so now I'm thinking this might help. This isn't great. I don't know the fact the player's turn's popped up straight away, but there we go. We'll click on 3, and then hopefully computer's turn should end. And it didn't. Yes, we need to change it to. Wait, no, hang on. What did players? It is player's turn state entered, which deleted it. A sec. Oh my goodness! Right, I have worked it all out. I think that because they are states, you can have them. They need to be individually named, and you can have them outside of these bits here. So this is the way you should have them. The transitions, have them directly under the compound state, particularly if you're going to be calling them more than once. If they can go, if they can only go to one place, and that one place can only go to somewhere else, then I think you're okay. But if like evaluate can go to one of 2 places, keep them separate. And I apologise for the confusion there. That totally threw me there. I didn't realise that. I must admit I probably should have got this going before. But there we go. So I think as well on my transition to computer turn, I'd left to computer turn blank. So I was getting in a right old state. So are you still with me? Still with me? I'll put the code on GitHub. You can download it and have a good play and have a good look around. So what we need to do now is the computer needs to say how many matches it's going to take. And we're going to do that by putting in here, working out a little formula to say how many it's going to take. Now, without wishing to give too much away on this game, there's a bit of a secret to it. Right? If you think about it, you never want to end up leaving the opponent with 4 matches. Because if you leave them with 4 matches, then they're going to take 3. So if you leave them with 2, 3 or 4 matches, then you are going to lose because they're going to take 2, 3, 1, 2 or 3, right? And to leave you with the last match. So you want to make sure it's on 5. So we're going to have a little thing here. Say var matches to take. And I think the way this works, I just need to get. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Maybe you can take a look and see if you can work it out. It's something like current matches, match count, -1%, 4. If that doesn't make any sense, have a little look. Let's just see what that is now. So matches to take. Matches to take. I'm going to leave this one with you to see if you can work out how that's actually going to work and how it's going to win. Let's just control this and we'll just print matches to take. I'll put that in quotes, in brackets. There we go. And we'll click here. 3, and then the computer's turned down here. It's taking 3, which will leave it with 29. Now I know that's a promising one because it should be leaving you with an odd number. So I've just taken 2 there, and I think it's actually not taking any, is it? It should say there you go. So it's taking 1. It wants to leave us with 29. Right. So let's quickly sort that out, and we'll just say here, status label dot visible equals true. Status label, can't spell, label dot text equals computer takes %d matches, match is percent matches to take, and then we'll do that thing. So we'll say current match count. We want to do that thing where we got the for loop as well, don't we? I'll tend to put it in its own function where it actually removes them. Where is that? I'll find it. Where is it? Where is it? Hang on, I'll do that in a second. Current match count minus equals. Let's do that. Minus equals matches to take. And we'll do what's it? Match count changed. Match count changed. Dot emit. Current match count. But we need to remove those matches from the screen, don't we? Where's that for loop? There it is. And then let's just do that. Okay. Emit. Okay. Let's have a look. See what happens. Click on play. For iron range match count. Oh no, I didn't call it that, did I? Call it matches to take. Let's just stop and start it. So let's take 3. Let's take 3, yeah. And then the computer's turn. Computer takes 2 matches. Player's turn. So we need to get that a little bit. When we do this to evaluate here, let's just quickly put a delay on that of 3 seconds, shall we? Okay. Yeah, 3 seconds, and then let's have a look. See how that looks. Okay. Oh, where are you going? There we go. Let's take 3. Computer's turn. Computer takes 0 matches. Ah, right. We've got a problem, haven't we? It looks like we picked the perfect number. So we don't want. Obviously, the computer can't take 0 matches. That's not allowed. So we'll say min. What's it? Max. Max, isn't it? Max. 1 comma matches to take. So it always must take at least 1. Right. Let's click on that. Let's try again. Click on 3, I think. Let's see if it takes 1 match. Oh, really? No. No. Matches to take here. Sorry. So this is going to be here. Max. Brackets 1 comma there. Ignore that. Remove that from there. Okay, right. Try again. It's got to take 1 match at least. 21. That's actually, I think that's the worst number. So we'll take 2. Computer's turn. We're going to take 2 matches, and now we're going to go. Now hopefully that's player's turn. And then that'll. Oh, that's it. That's it. It's worked. Okay, so we're going to say 3 now. Takes 3 matches. Computer's turn. That was a bit slow. That's okay. Computer takes 1 matches. So we'll get down. In a minute, this is going to break, isn't it? Because we're going to get to less than 1 match. Computer takes 1 match. We're almost there. We're actually almost there with this. 2. Let's just see how it ends. I think it's going to break because it's going to try and remove matches in a minute, and it's not going to let us. And then we'll do 3, something like that, 3. And the computer, I'm guessing, will take 1 match. But of course, the evaluate is failing now. Interesting. Because the evaluate has blown up because of these bits, right? So we'll say, I think I'm doing this else slightly wrong, but anyway, so we'll say if let's create a couple more states, shall we? Computer. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll say elif current match count equals 1 equals 1. Then let's just say that status label of visible is true, and we'll say turn %s, is it? Wins. It's not perfect because I think it's going to be lowercase, isn't it? Control. So we might be able to do something like that. %s wins. Yes. Yes. If a computer wins, player wins. Okay. And let's just try it. That's all we can do here. Yeah. Click on play. Let's make I tell you what. Let's make this number a lot smaller up here, shall we? In fact, let's do it in the state manager here, shall we? We'll set this to 10, 12. Now click play. 11. All right. Player's turn. We'll take 3. We'll need to be able to play a new game shortly, won't we? And then we'll click on 2. Computer's turn is going to take 2, and let's just see. Here we go. Computer takes 2 matches. %s wins. Okay. What did I do wrong there? Did I not put the? The good news is it's found the right bit. Yeah, we need to put % turn, don't we? Can we say something like to upper or something like that? Capitalize. Yeah. Yeah. I think that'll work. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe. Let's just see, shall we? Because I'm wondering if that %s might be made to uppercase. It might kick off. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, come on. Okay, computer's going to take 1. This computer's going to win. And hopefully it'll say computer wins. Computer wins. It didn't put it in capitals. Ugh. Maybe it's the other way around. Hang on. No. Okay, I'm not too worried about that right now. One more thing. That is the end of the game. So now this game is ready to play. And you can give it a try. I will do one more thing, which is to reload. What's going on here? It's got the wobbles. Let's just take 3. Sorry about that. I did not realise that. The problem I've had is I've never had multiple ways to get to the same state. This is why. So the computer is difficult to beat. The computer will play the perfect game. And I defy you to have a go at this. In the next episode, we will stick this on to itch.io. I'll show you how to do that. I will put it on itch.io, and I will put a link to it so that you guys can have a go as well. And you have a play. You've probably already seen the Unity one, so this will put the itch.io. Yeah, we'll put the Godot one on, and I will put a link to the source code as well. Let's just make sure we can have one more button that says written new game, right? So let's just put a under the canvas here, a new child node, a button. Yeah, just a button. Click on there. I was hoping it would take me to the. Let's just click on it. Sorry, I'm clicking on 2D here. Here we go, and we'll call this new game button. Okay, and then that is going to be not quite in the center. Let's anchor it in the center. And then under text, we'll put new game. New game. Don't need to do that, do we? And then we'll just get it, and we'll just pull that down. Put it to about there-ish. Right, and then we'll add a node to it. So signal pressed. Let's just set it so that it's up there, and then we'll do pressed connect. On new game button, press connect. Right, so under normal circumstances, it's not visible, but we'll set it to visible here. Let's set a link to it, shall we? Yeah, so just new game button, drag it in, pop that in, and then where it's got the win text, I've lost it. It's new game button. Dot visible equals true. And then where were we? So we'll just double click here, and we need to on new game button press. There it is. We need to say, oh, what's happened? Get tree dot reload current scene. Let's give that a try. I have a feeling I think one thing that might happen. That button may stay there when we reload the scene. So let's just get this game over with. 3. Player's turn. I'll take 2. And the computer's going to win, right? Okay, it's leaving us with 1 match. Computer wins. New game. Get ready. No, look at that. It's worked perfectly. Player's turn. The game is complete. This is a full game cycle. And we can put this onto itch.io. How about that? Guys, thank you. And I hope that this wasn't too confusing. Look, I feel that I should have done better there. And if it's too confusing, I will put another version of this out. If enough of you have got this far and you're confused as hell, let me know, and I'll maybe have a little forum or something like that where we can discuss what the hell's going on. But I've learned something as well with regards to the way these states are set up. This is very basically, don't make them subclasses, sub nodes, child nodes. Make them their own individual transitions. Top tip. All right. Okay. In the next one, we're going to make it look a little bit better. Not much better, just a little bit, by adding some background and maybe improving the quality of the matches, something like that, and deploying to itch.io. Should be a short one, a lot easier than this one. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you next time. All the best. Cheers out.